You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Good Wednesday morning for us here, for those of you that are listening. Welcome to another episode of Inside Real Estate, where myself, Paul Apostolakis, Brad Weisgerber, and Salvatore Cusmano, who are your hosts, talk about real estate. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. For those of you that are back, thank you for coming back. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any shows. And please leave us a review. That always does help. You can find us on Facebook /IRE Podcast, or you can go to irepodcast.com or anywhere that podcasts are available. Today, guys, we've got a really cool guest. His name's Daryl Wizinsky with Elegant Homes EXP. This guy's done some really cool stuff in the industry. I want to get his background and kind of understand what he's doing today and what he's planning on doing, because he's kind of a forward thinker. So it'll be nice to kind of get a good perspective from him. How you boys doing before we get started? Yeah.
Good, man.
Sal, what are you seeing real quick in the market? If you had to give a 1 minute update.
Like real quickly, rates are ticking up. They've been going up the past few days. I don't know how much longer we can yo-yo up and down, right? So I think at some point that floor of the bottom, right, is going to be real. So I think between that and the holidays, I think some people are feeling a little slow. Other people have buyers who are activated and ready to go and take advantage of these times, right? So I guess it depends what you've done the past 90 days to see where you're at now if you're in the business.
All right, man. Thanks for your quick 1 minute mortgage update. Maybe we'll do that every week. I like that. All right, without further ado, I want to bring Daryl onto the show. Daryl, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, man. You sound great. Thank you for doing the show. Daryl, I know that you've been in the business for some time. Tell us how you got into real estate. Nobody ever really wakes up and says, hey, I'm going to do real estate right out of the gates, right? So tell us how you got into the real estate business, man.
So I taught sales for corporate Chrysler. I did dealership development. So my job was F&I, finance and insurance. So it's the last person you see in the dealership. They're the last line of defense for the dealer principal to make profit. And my job was to teach them how to maximize profit and basically teach people how to be a closer. And then shortly after, I was really good at that. I was really good. And then in 2007, we started seeing Chrysler Financial was pulling back on money, and we couldn't understand what was happening in 2008. Essentially, the market crashed, and then my job became to close dealerships. That was my job, and I'm like, man, this is just gut wrenching. And I'm not really the one that is conformative. I don't really conform well. I got a big mouth, right? It gets me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
And so they told me to close down dealerships, and I did. That lasted a quick stint, and after that, I resigned, and it was this agent. We'll leave his name out of it because it's controversial, but he loved his agents, and I said, man, I'm going to get in real estate. And that's how the story started back in 2008. Worst market. Everybody said, Daryl, don't get in real estate. I didn't know any better. Best year ever.
So you jumped in during the crash of 2008, which is interesting. I've talked to a few people that kind of started at that point in time. It kind of changes your perspective a little bit because you're kind of coming out of the gates and working pretty hard to get a deal.
Yeah, first year, 75 homes sold. I didn't know any better. I had this in the office from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. I mean, legit, I just quit a job where I was making, upwards almost close to $300,000 a year salary. And I quit my job with benefits. And
wow.
I was like, my girlfriend at that time was like, what are you doing? So I had no choice. I didn't know any better. I was just like, man, just come to work and grind. And 75 homes was my first year out of the gate.
That's a ton of homes your first year, dude.
Yeah, it was stressful. It was stressful. I didn't know what I was doing either. No. No clue.
You had no idea what the shit you were doing, man.
My
right?
broker hated me. He used to tell me I was high maintenance. Hated me.
Well, the high maintenance ones are always the best ones, to be honest with you, because they're working. So that's interesting, man. So you got in 2008. So how did you start getting your business right off the bat? Like, where did you find your business?
Man, at first, I didn't know how to generate business. There was like that brokerage grew from like I was one of the first 10 that were there, and it grew up to like I think 100 agents. And at any given time, they had 4,000 listings at one time. And this is before CRMs have always been around, but they used to just walk and just throw a stack. Like they would just throw stacks of leads on my desk and say, call these leads. And then people in the office be like, we don't want to call these leads. And then they would throw a stack of papers. I mean, before I had it was like a phone book of leads on my desk every day. And I just called them and I set up searches. And I was like, man, what is everybody not doing? And what can I do that everybody else isn't doing? And that they just gave me leads. And I just called them. I didn't know any better. I just called and called and called,
Yeah. And it's funny. People kind of poo-poo leads sometimes, but it really is what you put into it, right? If you put in the right work ethic, and obviously you had a good sales chops, so you were going in there and you're convincing people to work with you, which is really impressive, especially back then.
Yeah, I didn't have a CRM. I had 3 stacks of papers, morning, afternoon, evening. If they didn't answer in the morning, I moved that piece of paper to the evening. If they didn't answer, I just kept moving the papers around. And then I would have the clients who I was working with, I would have right on my whiteboard who I converted. And that's how I did it,
That's sick, dude. That is sick. So you just grinded. So tell me what happens after that. You do that your first year, you do 75 homes. Let's fast forward. How do you get to starting Elegant Homes?
Man, I got a free education. I worked for 3 brokers. All 3 were phenomenal. Like at the end of the day, they're all like $100 million producers. And much respect to all my mentors. I worked for Mark Z for a minute, worked for Jeff Glover for a minute. And, if somebody told me starting a team would be as much work as it is, I don't know that I would have went down this road. But I just wanted, in life, I'm a veteran. So I grew up poor, and nobody helped me growing up. Like nobody was coming to save me. Not in no ghetto, not in war,
right?
Not in life. And I just wanted to help people. So I seen other people were they I guess they aspired to be like me. I don't know why they wanted to be like me, but people would come to me and say, hey, I want to be in real estate. I want to work with you. And more and more people started coming to me, and I wanted to be like my mentors, right? And then I started a team, and Jeff Glover was really supportive of me leaving his team, and I was his top producer. I did 17 million a year with his company.
Wow.
Yeah, so and he was really supportive. So that's how I left. I made my way through working for Mark Z, who taught me how to work buyers really well. And then Jeff Glover taught me how to be a killer listing agent. And then people wanted to work for me. And I started building a team actually while I was in Jeff Glover's. And then Jeff helped me with some insight on how to build a team. And then I eventually went off and built my own thing. That's what I did.
That's awesome. And for those of you out there that don't know, Jeff Glover is a very big agent here in Metro Detroit. He's also branched out with he's got a whole platform that he's teaching people right now on that. But it's interesting because you've got balls, dude, because like a lot of people in those situations would be like, I'm comfortable, right? It doesn't sound like you're someone that allows yourself to be comfortable for too long.
No, I'll tell you, my operation manager hates me, dude. She fucking hates me. Like I walk in, we got something new to do today. She's like, man, no, I'm not comfortable, right? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And so we built this. So mind you, we had 4 agents when I first started, and now we're at, I don't know, something like 60 or 70. We're spread across a couple states now, and every day is a new day. My operations manager is a little bit older, and she's a little bit more stable than I am. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, we got some new shit today. She's like, I don't even want to hear it. So we had to develop a testing team, right? We had to build a team. So I would just build shit and I would give it to that new team. And I'd be like, hey, you guys test this shit for 90 days. And then once we get through it, you tell me the problems, then I'll go to the operations manager. And then, but mom's the word till we get to that stage, because she's going to flip a wig if she knows that I'm doing this shit. And that's what happened. And, so yeah, I'm very, I wouldn't say reckless, but I'm a risk taker. Look, look, you know what happens is this, and I'll tell you this: when you come from nothing,
right,
and you're poor, like it doesn't matter. Money doesn't drive me, right? I'm willing to risk everything. I'll go back to be eating from the soup kitchen if I need to, but I'll figure it out. You know.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Yeah, that is a funny thing when you come from meager beginnings. You can go one or the two ways. Some people turn into penny pinchers and they want to grab onto every penny, and other people think of the world as abundance, right? There's an abundance of business out there. There's an abundance of money out there. It just depends on like what's your game to get it, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you start the team. Now you've got 60 to 70 agents. How do you manage all that, man?
Man, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'd be clear, I don't really have a home, right? And my fiance's probably listening, like kind of flipping me the middle finger, right? So I lived in Michigan on Belleville Lake for like 7 years, and I met this young lovely lady, and she lived in California. Go figure. So I get up at 4:30 in the morning on the East Coast. So no matter if I'm in Hawaii, California, I'm up at 4:30. I have an operations manager who runs the show in Michigan. I have a training manager who's phenomenal, $12-15 million producer, still in production. Hired her as my training manager, kills it. I have transaction coordinators for buyers and listings, and they run the whole country, and they're on the East Coast. So I'm up at 4:30 in the morning if I'm in California. So because it's 7:30 here, people are grinding in Michigan.
Right.
I have the teams. I basically am running. If I spend probably, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks in each city that I'm in, and building the foundation. And no matter what, I'm part of every training. Even if I'm not leading it, I'm taking notes. I'm learning, even if it's not me teaching. But we use video to its fullest extent.
Yeah.
And I think American Express and Delta love me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, this shit isn't for the faint-hearted. Like,
it's not.
We're in Michigan, California, Massachusetts, and Chicago, and then by the end of March we'll be in Arizona and Texas and Florida, with real teams. We're not talking like, like downlines or whatever the hell people talk about, and Keller Williams, EXP. And I'm not knocking any of them.
Yeah.
We're gonna have real teams, and so it's just management. Like, it's being intentional, regimented schedule. I'm on the video. I do one-on-ones with my team members. Everybody who works for me gets 45 minutes a month, a one-on-one, and they can tell me to F off if they want. It's cool. You have 45 minutes no matter what every month with me. And then do trainings weekly and stuff. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. So you got a real operation going on, man. How do you
took the hard road instead of the, like you said, right, the downlines and whatnot, which isn't anything to necessarily knock, but you're building it like physically.
You know what? You just said that. My friend Nick Hill, we were with stunt riders together on crotch rackets, and he lived in Detroit, and he lives in California now, and he doesn't live too far where I live in California. He said, man, you took the hard road in life for success. And you just said that about building the team and the downlines. Man, that's all. I swear God like wakes up every day and tells me he's going to give me 5 problems every day. Everything. I took the hard road on everything. You know what, at the end of the day, here's the thing, right? All bullshit aside, people in EXP or hate me, I don't care, right? I don't preach something because of money, right? At the end of the day, if I was to go out and preach, like, come to my downline in EXP, right? If nobody's selling homes, nobody's making any money. So what the hell does it matter anyways?
Doesn't
right?
matter. You got to sell the houses still.
Right? So that's like my mindset. Like, man, I'm going to teach you how to sell homes. And we might, if you guys want to get into it, we can talk about this in a minute. I'll just tell you, I just took somebody who gave me $150,000, an agent who gave me $150,000 in cash, and in 2 years made them worth $2.5 million because because they trusted me. Like, and that's legit. So that's what I strive for. So I'm about building teams. I didn't want to go on a tangent. Sorry about that. I just
Yeah,
I don't want to build. I don't want to build down lines. I want to build something of value. So these people, regardless if they stay with me or they leave, that they saw value while they were here with me. Right. You don't have to agree with me.
right.
But I take something away from me. That's all I ask.
So what sets you apart? As far I know, you got the mindset, you got the work ethic. A lot of agents kind of have that, and a lot of agents don't, to be honest with you. But what sets you apart as far as your style, your mentality than other agents right now?
I'm a controversial agent, right? I'll be honest. For a long time, I had a drinking problem. Because I was a vet and it's just all excuses, all bullshit, right? So I had a drinking problem and whatever it was, it was what it was. And I was, I'm very real and raw, right? So that, and for me, I had to get real with myself and stop lying to myself and tell myself I was better not drinking. But what makes me different is that I'm real and raw. And my agents who are on my team and those who respect me, that they know they're going to get the truth. They're not going to get some bullshit. I'm not going to go tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't do. Right.
Right.
And even my mentors, like, they don't agree with my style sometimes, but I'm real, I'm raw. And I'm not like one, like, hey, I did this, so you should do it. I show them the proof. And if they want it, that's great. I'm just real and raw. That's what makes me different. And I hold people accountable. Like, you show up to my company and you got excuses, I'm going to tell you real quick. People in my company, when they walk up to me, they know if I respect them or not, right? Because I will stop and actually talk to them, or I'll just keep walking. And accountability is different. Like, it's huge here. It's not an option. Like, you're in the office 3 days a week, 3 or 4 hours a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm just raw. Like, I'm going to give it to you real, right?
Well, you want success, right? You want people to succeed around you, and pussyfooting or being soft about the message sometimes doesn't really help. It's not going to help anybody.
Well, I mean, if somebody told you, like, well, you could do this and you can make $1 million, like, would you do it?
No.
I would say, a quote unquote employer-employee relationship needs to be mutually beneficial, right?
Yeah.
So if they don't want to listen to what you have, right? I mean, and you don't want to listen to what they have. I mean, what's the point, right? Go work somewhere else.
Yeah, it's like, we try to find a common ground, right? With everybody. It's being a leader isn't easy. I'll tell you that. Some days it's tiring.
Yeah. Being a leader is tough because everybody wants a piece of your soul, kind of. You know what I mean?
And it's hard when you have people who, like, I think, at least, for me, I'm like a producer, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes I get caught up in, like, why don't you understand that? Like, It's so simple in my head, right? You got to kind of break yourself back down to where they were, or where you were when where they're at right now, right?
Yeah, because some people are in the scarcity mindset. You just can't change that thought process, right? Because you're not living their life, their pains, their struggles, and
Can you change the scarcity mindset? I've tried it. I'm not successful with it.
I've never been able to. I struggle with this every day with agents and coaching and training. I selectively train about 10 people privately outside of my company on business development. That's what actually my real business for me is business development. Scarcity mindset. I've never been able to change somebody, right? No. It's pretty much, you need a traumatic event that it's kind of like somebody hitting rock bottom and they've lost everything and there's nothing else left to try, and then they'll change. But that I haven't been able to.
Yeah, scarcity and abundance. Like, I'm a big believer in that, and there are just two very distinct people that kind of live in both, right?
Well, I think one's unnecessarily evil to have the other, right? Like, typically people will usually have their best months after their biggest failures or their worst months, right? I remember, I think it was like December of 2015 or something. I remember I got a check for the whole month and it was like $200, right? And that I was like, what the fuck, like,
I remember
dude.
that.
Yeah. Then it takes
Yeah,
that
and he
to
goes,
dig yourself out of the hole,
He goes, you earned it. You earned it. And he
Yeah.
wasn't wrong, I mean, I earned $200 for the whole month, and that was that, right? I mean, I just realized, like, all right, you gotta grind.
It was a good lesson. You know what I mean?
You know what the problem that I see is, though, is when people don't have to grind, like when people got support systems around them, right? Husband, wives, fiancés. I see the people who have no options grinding harder than people who have options, and that's probably shitty of me to say, but that's just the truth,
Well, they're comfortable, bro. Right?
Yeah.
They're comfortable. They got their cushy house. They're okay making whatever they're making. They just want stability and safety, and they feel like they got it if they make X amount of dollars per month. Like we both work in a commission industry where you get paid. You get a report card every day of how you did. Right? You get a report card every month. You get a report card of how you did that month.
Yeah.
And the fucked up part is with our business is that report card is actually not even that month. It's like three months ago is what your report card is. And then you take your foot off the gas for a minute, and then you get a report card that's an F. You know what I mean? And then you're like, what the fuck happened?
Well, it's funny because 80% of the action is easy, right? 80% of the things we do, probably even more, every day are easy things. They're not hard to do. It's just you have to do them consistently every single day, or you'll have a hole in your bucket that's bigger than others. Right?
I have this saying that you need to be intentional, like mindset when you wake up in the morning. You're intentional on what you're going to do, and you're consistent. Everything else will fall to fucking place somewhere. If your mindset is right, you wake up, you're intentional, you're actually going to do something that day. If you wake up more often and you say, what I'm about to do today is going to change my life. If the answer is more no than often than no, then you need to do something different in life. So I'm very intentional and I'm consistent. Like people know my schedule, right? And that makes me different. Realtors are so funny. Like they'll take a lead, they'll get a lead, and they won't even set the damn lead up on a search. The client called, you want to buy a damn home. How hard is it not to set up a damn search? Right?
Well, it's humans in general, dude. It's weird. Humans, when they're faced with something, whatever it is, like doing the right thing's a little bit harder always, right? The right thing's always a little bit harder.
Right.
Right. Or a lot harder, but more times than not, the right thing to do is always harder. It's a little bit harder to set someone up on a search than it is to go on to a different lead that potentially does, maybe might answer the phone. So I don't know why humans do this, but they shy away from doing the right thing just because it's a little bit harder.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. My first job, I worked at Burger King. And I swear to God, I couldn't keep a job, like I didn't want to work at Burger King, that's why I went to the military. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because I was a piece of shit. I wouldn't keep a job. And, but I was going to have a daughter. And I was like, man, I need some regiment, right? So I joined the military. Right there, you sign a contract, your ass ain't getting out. So your time is up or you die, right? So that's what I did. Is like I couldn't imagine going back to Burger King, and two, I couldn't imagine going back to the military because I hated it. Right? I mean, I love my brothers, but that's a whole other story for another day. But I was like, man, I had no choice. Like, and people are just like, man, I understand to a point. I live in California where the homeless rate is so high, and I'm like, people are like, why don't you just want a carefree life? And I'm like, I just can't do it.
You're a sadist, dude.
I want to leave a legacy.
Most people are.
Yeah. I don't know.
Most people can't live a carefree life. It's like physically impossible.
Well, the
people that have the option to live a carefree life usually can't, because what got them to be able to live a carefree life is going to stop them from being able to live a carefree life.
You guys want to know?
They're always tricky.
You guys want to know what the biggest key to success is?
Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Man, just being around the right people. I mean, I can't stress that enough, right? I paid $50,000 to go to a damn networking program, and I'm not bragging about price. My operations manager gets mad when I talk about money, But I legitimately, it took me out of my comfort zone. It took me 3 years. Ryan Stewman got so mad at me for not signing up year after year after year that he kicked me out of a sales group on Facebook, Sales Talk by Pros. He kicked me out because I want to sign up. But anyways, I signed up, and that was like, you know what? That getting around the like-minded people, your network, I can't stress that enough. Your network is your net worth. And those people around you, if they're not holding you accountable, man, you're just going to be average at best, dude. And now, you know, I have friends like Joey Zago, who owns the Carpet Guys, and you know,
He was on our show. We had him on.
My dude, good friend of mine. They were driving my Corvette at the dealership yesterday. Him and Ali Rita sending me FaceTime videos of driving my Corvette. I haven't even drove
it too. You guys, I can see why you guys get along.
Yeah, but you got to be around people like that, right? And people like you guys get it, right? And that's why I'm okay with getting on a plane and flying somewhere, right? Man, people are so like, man. I'm not saying that I don't love my fiance because I love her, right? But she tells me, you know, she's like, you're always gone. I'm like, honey, I got to be around good people. I got to be around people like me. And she gets it, you know. And I'm telling you, like, anybody's watching this, man, getting around people like-minded who want to be the best. You can watch all the motivational shit you want in your life, but you got to be around people who are doing the work, right? If I were to go back into real estate production, I'd be hanging out with this guy on the podcast right here. I'd be hanging out with him, right? Because he's in production. He gets it, right? I would be around ballers. I would not be fucking around with losers, right? Yeah. So that, I mean, you got, that's my biggest takeaway, man. Be around people who you aspire to be. Like, if you want to be a billionaire, stop hanging out with millionaires. Hang out with billionaires, you know?
Right. I mean, that's so true, bro. Because my dad used to say, you hang around shit long enough, you'll start smelling like it no matter what. Right.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but yeah, that's a big thing. So tell me this, dude. I'm a new agent. I'm getting into the business right now. It's pretty saturated. There's everybody's an agent all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Market's really tight. It's hard to get the offers accepted. What are you telling your people right now that are just starting out? What's their first year look like?
For me, it's like, man, like, I can give you all the leads in the world, right? And which we generate a lot of leads. That's a problem in itself. We do that. That's a big problem for us, because it opens a can of worms. But anyways, like if anybody who's getting in this business, right, this shit isn't HGTV. First and foremost, this is not HGTV. Nobody who works at the damn flower shop is buying multi-million-dollar houses. Let's just clear that shit up real quick, real fast, right? Right. You know, you take your income times that shit by 3. If you got good credit, you might be able to buy that type of home. Like, and so when people are getting in this business, right, like, don't come to me like real estate, you're going to get rich. And if you can't survive for 6 months with no money, don't come in this business, right? And there's no magic pill. There's no magic bean. Your ass is going to have to come in here and put 40, 50, 60 hours a week. If you're not calling leads, you're vegging your brain on practicing scripts, role playing, you're door knocking, you're doing whatever it takes that the people before you did to become better. And you have to practice, right? And this is we're not reinventing real estate. It's the same shit, different day. And you don't show up to game day without practicing. Game day is your reward. Practice is where it's really done at. So your first 6 months, man, if your ass isn't in the office or around a mentor or I mean, all of it together, putting 60 hours in a week learning, right? This isn't a part-time gig. Well, I'm gonna do real estate part-time. I'm like, man, you just gave the real estate school $300 and you paid the state for nothing because you ain't gonna do shit, right? You know, right? So you gotta, like, I don't know, if you're new people, come in, find somebody who's going to mentor you, who's going to teach you the process, teach you how to do a buyer's consultation, teach you how to do a listing presentation, teach you how to prospect, teach you that accountability and regimen and skills. And if you can't be regimented in this industry, if you can't be regimented and follow a schedule, right, and you can't be accountable, this is the wrong business for you. Do not go take the test. Just stay out of it, because you're going to be that annoying ass agent that we got to call that has no clue what they're doing. And that's just the facts. And people come here, you know, I'm a big fan of coaching them up or out the front door. One or the other. We don't have no interim here. You're in
Up
or
or out.
yeah, one other way. So you get in it. This is not HGTV. That's a plain and simple answer. You're gonna make 6 figures. You're gonna work for it.
It's a war zone, dude. I mean, not a war, like literal war, but it's tough out there.
Yeah, nobody they think you're gonna come in here and they're like, oh, that office is so cute inside. I'm gonna get rich. I'm like, what? Some agent told me, I'm not gonna say the brokers. They're like, that brokerage is a lot more nicer than yours. I said, oh, okay, that's cool. Go over there. They sold,
I think a thing too is people are afraid to feel like they don't know what they don't know, right? Like, be a pain in the ass to your mentors or your broker, whoever it is. And if you're not getting the answers, you might be in the wrong company, right?
You just nail on the head. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, all the time, right? I'll have someone and they're like, oh, well, I just told them this. I'm like, that's fucking wrong. Why didn't you ask if you didn't know? Right. Well, I was scared that, you might get mad. What? Am I that
so what if I get mad?
I mean,
but so what if you get mad?
Shame on me and shame on them, though. Shame on me too, right?
We got Slack running. My agents know to call me. They don't give a damn, right? They'll call me with the dumbest shit, right? But to me, I don't care, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't care if it was just like, ask me one simple statement on an addendum. All other items remain the same. Like, I don't think any question is dumb. And you know what? Use me, right? Use me, because at the end of the day, the question you don't ask is probably going to jam your ass up with the state or jam your client up with losing the home or something. Something bad is going to happen when you don't ask that question,
And it's okay to tell your client, I don't know, let me find out.
Yeah, a lot of agents don't want to do that. Yeah, they're just
crazy.
Yeah.
What do you see, dude, coming down? Okay, so now we're like into 2000. We're going to 2022. The market's been hot for a long time. I mean, it's kind of, ebbs and flows, but like right now we're kind of in a weird spot where inventory is low. It's really hard to get houses. What do you see going into 2022?
That's a good question, right?
Or do you even give a shit? Does it even like affect you?
I never gave a shit. I mean, I'm trying to give you an answer because you asked, but I backed up. Like, let's take backtrack. Oh, 08 housing markets crashed, right? Every house is like, hey, well, look, shit, I figured out how to do short sales, right? Oh, shit, investors love to buy homes because of the people who had money, right? 12 years later, I learned that now that I have a lot of money in the bank, right? I'm just waiting for stupid shit like that to happen at any given time, right? So investors were buying homes like crazy. I don't really care that I don't really care that what's happening. I do think that it's important to understand what's happening in your market and not be blind or ignorant about what's happening. I think that watching the trends is important, and being knowledgeable. And I don't think that you need to know everything right away, right? But being knowledgeable on how mortgages work, how title works, how real estate works. And I think collectively, no matter what happens, you'll be okay, right? A lot was learned from 08. That BS that happened in 08 with all the foreclosures, that will never happen again. Even if the market crashed, that cycle wouldn't repeat itself because it wasn't successful for the banks. It wasn't successful for the government. So at the end of the day, knowing your customer base and being diverse in your customer base is key, right? You can have your mom and pops in your residential, right? But you don't have to be an expert in commercial, but you should know how it works a little bit, right? You should know how returns on refis work and where people are really making their money. So what I see happening in the next couple of years is this, right? There's been a deficiency in the housing market across the United States collectively, unless you're in a totally urban bad area, for about 15 years, right? So that's not going to correct itself instantaneously, right? We've been hearing the housing market's going to change for 15 years now, not 15 years, I'm sorry, for the last 10 years. After we got out of the crash in 2010, is when the highest and best crap started happening. So we were really only in a market for 2 years. So it's never fixed itself since 2010. So what I see is this, right? I see a lot of people who did a lot of updates to their home in COVID, right? And Home Depot was busy. See a lot of people, they put Band-Aids on problems in 2020. and those they made themselves feel better. I feel like that over the next 2 to 4 years, that those people who did that work in the home are going to sell their home. Now, when all those homes hit the market at the same time, and then you're going to have an increase in inventory, so that will drive prices down. But I have a hard time believing that rates drive real estate. I don't believe that because I bought my first home in 05, and my rate with a 800 credit score was 6 point something, right?
And that was good.
That was good, right? So I just feel like the market is going to stay good. I really genuinely think that collectively, if I was an agent, I would get some expertise in vacant land and commercial experience, because these tech companies are going to blow up. Everything is tech. People are going to need to build new facilities. I'm not saying residential is not where it's at, but if you have, all you need is one great payday from one commercial transaction, you can make a couple $100,000, right? You can change your life.
Right.
Real estate, I don't think it's a state of mind. I answer your question shortly. I think it's state of mind. I don't think it's gonna. I don't really give a shit one way or another. We're gonna kill it anyways. My production, our sales are up. Just this year alone, 60%. In the last 2 years, we're up 90%.
Wow.
Yeah,
Which that's interesting, dude.
The business
Sal, did you have
total it's like a pie, right? And if the pie gets smaller, how do you keep your piece the same size?
Well,
right?
a lot of these agents will get out, right? Because they're like, it's like a cycle, right? A lot of them get in, like, oh, I'm going to get in and make a lot of money. Highest and best. I'm going to be a real estate agent. And then I'm like, okay.
Highest and best. You keep saying that. That's funny.
I just laugh. A lot of agents get in and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this.
I mean, I think if rates go up, it's only going to probably accelerate and, make things busier. I don't think it would slow things down, because you'll probably see people on the fence like, shit, now's the time, right?
So watch this, right? So right now the housing market's at this, right? So people are getting annoyed, right? And they pause, right? So the market goes across and it plateaus for a minute, right? As soon as everybody sees the market plateau, right? All those people that put it on the back burner for a minute are going to come back out, right? They're all going to come out because everything is pretty symmetrical. And then they're all going to just go back up again. Everybody's going to come out again. It's going to keep driving it. And when you look at like when you look at Toronto, that's all you got to do is look at Toronto.
Toronto's a good example.
Yeah,
Toronto's wild.
Yeah, and they have no, and like people are like, the market's going to crash. No, it's not going to crash. There's no subprime. The market's not going to crash as long as people can afford homes. Go look at California. I live there. That shit's insane. Don't even get me started on that. But people are buying homes out there, right? So it's not going to crash. It's just a matter of, do you want to own a home or do you want to rent? That's all it is,
Yeah. And dude, like you said it though, real estate is still a really good investment at 5% on an interest rate. Tell me that's not a good investment still.
Let me tell you. I'm gonna share some facts, right? Trust me, I'm very humble. I'm just blessed. I just bought $1 million building. I just bought a $1,040,000 building, right? That I lucked out. I bought the building on a land contract, $200,000 down, right? My lease where I was at currently was $5,700 a month. So I bought that building, and the mindset was, okay, I'm gonna buy that building and I'm going to lease it back to Elegant Homes for $10,000 a month, right? Now I have this rent roll on a building for 24 months. I got a balloon payment in 24 months. But now I got a rent roll generating revenue on a business. And what I'm going to do in the 24 months is I'm going to refi the building that I just bought for like over $2 million. I'm going to get $600,000 in cash that I'm going to go use on another investment. Right. So real estate is still a viable asset, even if, and my rate on that is actually, I think 5.8 or 6% or something on that. So, but the money, people are so worried about like, oh, that's a high rate. Who gives a shit? Right now, what is equity? Like 9%. Homes are like increasing, like, I don't even know.
20% year over year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, come on, you're bitching about 5%, 6%, 7%. As long as it doesn't hit 10 and we're still at a 20% equity increase on valuation. flips, run it all day long.
I need your number so I can transfer some of my clients to you when they start bitching about 3 1/8 to 3 1/4.
Hey, can I share something with you guys? I don't want to ramble. I was in training today, right? And we were going through like scripting, and I was actually the student, right? Because my training manager got the floor and she like, shut the hell up, right? Yeah. So we were talking about objections, and people were like talking about money and stuff, right? And I said, let me ask you guys something. If your client, if you could sit in front of your client and you ask your client why they went to work for so damn long to put their money into their 401k, and that money is going to go when they get old, right? I said, what are they making on their 401k? 2, 3, 4%. I said, when you got a housing market that's doing 9 to 20% on an annual basis, why wouldn't they just take that 401k and go buy a damn home? And then in 5 years, they just made $100,000-$200,000 versus that money sitting in a 401k. Does not anybody understand this concept where we're really making money? In the United States is one of the only countries where you can do this in real estate. This doesn't happen around the whole world.
It doesn't.
So I'm like, man, it's free money, and the bank is front loading all the money. The bank is front loading you all your money. So like, why not take advantage of it?
We have a really interesting system here. I've been to Greece, I've been to Europe, and they don't have banks. They don't have Fannie Mae. They don't have Freddie Mac. They don't have these government bodies. You can't just go to a bank and borrow 95% on a house that you want to buy. It just doesn't happen. You know, they don't have FHA where you can put 3.5% down. But to your point, I mean, real estate in the United States is such a huge part of our economy. Wouldn't you agree? It's too big. It's a huge part of our economy.
I mean, like that building I bought, I mean, in full disclosure, that was for that agent, which is my fiance, that gave me $150,000. In 2 years, she's worth $2.5 million now.
That's wild, man.
And I didn't give her any of my money. I told her if I screwed up her $150,000, I'd give it back to her. But I made her in that building. When that building refinances, you know what she's going to go do? She's going to go buy probably a 100-unit apartment complex with the refinance money.
Right.
And then
just keep going, keep rolling it, bro.
Yeah. And that's the real reason why we get into real estate. Make a lot of money really fast, make network, make connections, make relationships, and move up. Right? Let the new people come in and take over, right? There's going to be a day when I stop doing flips. I have a bunch of flips. I'm going to stop doing that shit because it's not worth my time. Right. It's not worth it. But I mean, if anybody took anything away from this, man, grind your ass off in real estate. Don't let anybody tell you the market. I don't care what the market conditions are.
Yeah. I agree. Dude, I like your attitude, bro, because I feel like we have similar mentalities on that. I don't want to take up too much of your time, dude. We're running out of time. So we do this thing where we ask you 3 random questions that are just off the wall, and you got to answer them, and then we'll let you go. You ready for that?
I'm cool. Let's go.
All right. Sal, you got one?
If you could be like a fly on the wall at any specific moment in history, right? All the way back from, Egyptians or dinosaurs to now, right? What would that be? Like a specific moment in time?
The Great Depression.
You want to see that carnage?
Yeah, I would like to understand the concept of what really genuinely happened and what people's mindsets were there. I would like to know what the Great Depression was, because knowledge is power. That way, we don't repeat it. That way, I would know that whatever steps I was making, that it wouldn't lead to that in whatever fashion, because history is one-sided, right? There's always 2 stories to every side, the left, the right, and then the middle is the truth,
Well, people got rich during the Great Depression, dude. There's a lot of people that got rich, really rich. The Carnegies, the Chases, whatever. So next question. If you had to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Tacos.
Yeah. Is that why you moved to California, dude? You love tacos?
I love shit. I love tacos, man. I like they have the best food in California.
Yeah. I can see that. Brad, you got a question?
Sure. If you had to have a theme song where anytime you walked into a room, got out of a car, did anything, this song played, what would it be?
I already have the licensing to it. NF Layers.
NF, you're an NF fan. All right.
Yeah, I got the licensing on Layers. Yeah. So NF Layers, right? There's layers to this. He says it. There's layers to this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big NF fan, dude. That's awesome. That's really interesting. All right. Listen, dude, anything you want to tell the audience before you go?
And anything you want to do in life, it's up to you, right? You're your own excuse. You're your own headache. You're your own battle, right? Nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming to save you. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, but look, just do what you want in life, whatever makes you happy. If you want to just do the status quo, do the status quo. You want to be entrepreneur, successful, do it. But just do whatever you're going to do. Actually do it, right? And own it. Don't lie and bullshit to yourself. The rest of it is easy. Life isn't that damn complicated. Man, and honestly, in closing, I'm just really grateful that I got to be on this podcast. I had no clue what I was walking into today, and I'm actually really grateful for all you guys. It's a lot of people don't, my agents get tired of hearing me, and it's nice to be able to share this. So thank you guys for having me this morning.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. If the audience needs to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you, bro?
DarylWizinsky.com. That's my website, DarylWizinsky.com. Everything's on there. I offer coaching and mentoring. A lot of my clients, I just give it to them for free. I have some high level stuff, but that's another story. But I don't charge typically for anything. And you're looking to get into anything, mortgage, real estate, title. I'm not pitching any of my companies, but I'm here to help. I have people who were on my coaching program for 3 years before they decided to join my company, and free of charge. So
that's awesome.
So
that's awesome, dude. Yeah. Bro, I'm thoroughly impressed. I want to have you back on sometime in the future, man. I really appreciated the time you spent with us. I mean, it was impactful, honestly.
I hope so. I really appreciate you guys. I'm glad you guys are doing your thing. And actually, to be honest, I'm kind of mad at myself for not being consistent on my podcast, but you guys are doing your thing. And I know you guys are changing people's lives. That's all that matters.
I appreciate that, man. Well, man, you be good. We'll see you on the other side. Have a great holiday and good 2022 to you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thanks,
Peace out. Like that guy, dude.
Yeah. Breath of fresh air, right? Sometimes we just kind of talk to people who are like, a lot more professional, like when it comes to like the way they present themselves, if that makes sense. And no offense, Daryl, but like you said, he's raw. He doesn't give a shit.
He didn't give a shit.
I don't want to say professional. Let's say filtered, right?
Yeah. He was
just not professional, filtered.
Yeah.
I respect anyone that can just be raw, say it like it is, and be them.
Yeah.
Respect the shit out of that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Same. I mean, he's unapologetically himself, right? For better or worse, however he rubs, people, but for the most part, right, it seems like
he's doing all right.
People's lives for the better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really, when it comes down to it, the focus that you have to have is like, you can't think about the money because there's none at the beginning, and to get over that barrier, you really got to think like, how can I change people's lives? And in turn, you do get paid for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was an awesome guest, man. I really loved it. So, guys, it's the holiday weekend. It's Thanksgiving. Anything I mean, I'm really thankful that you guys are here every week with me doing this show. I love it.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, even sometimes it's a pain in the ass to come on here, but
yeah,
we like to do it, and it's always good to be with you guys. And thankful for our guests. I mean, that was pretty awesome of him at the end there, right?
Yeah.
So,
hey, Natalia, how many episodes have you done so far this year?
I believe this is 174.
174 episodes, boys. Did you ever think that's a lot?
Well, it's over 3 years,
Yeah.
And even with COVID, right? Like, it would have been real easy to be like, hey, fuck it, we can't meet. Let's not do it, right?
No,
but this actually made it a lot easier. We can get nationwide guests and whatnot, and cool platforms. So thanks, Natalia, for with that too.
Yeah, no, we've in 2022. I think we're going to have a great year, dude. All right, boys. Listen, I love you guys. For the audience members that are still listening, thank you for making it this far. Please like, share, subscribe our podcast. It really does help us out. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss any episodes. You can go to Facebook.com/IRE podcast. You can go to irepodcast.com. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us anywhere that podcasts are listened to. I think we're on every single platform now. So thank you to everybody that's been listening. You guys have a wonderful holiday, Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.